Hello everyone, you're so welcome to this new podcast in English. It's number 7, even if I almost don't dare to say that because it has been a long time. Today is the 4th of April 2019, it's a Thursday, and here in near Lyon in France, it's been a bit grey and rainy for the past couple of days, so I put some extra lighting here because the sun was out this morning, but it's going to hide again. So we'll try it this way. We'll see what that does with colors and so on. Today I'm going to talk to you about the latest pattern by Eclat de Soleil, which is the shawl in crochet that I'm wearing. I'm going to show you my work in progress, which is a very modest one, but it's in Tunisian crochet and I enjoy it very much. I'm also going to talk to you a bit about organic cotton because I have received my spring shipment and there's some really nice colors. This is a beautiful yarn, so I'd like to show it a bit to you. And at the end, I'm going to talk a bit about my newsletter and of the recent improvements I made on my website in English. So if you want to stay around for that, please do so. First I have to introduce myself. My name is Annette Platterie and I'm a crochet designer and teacher. Sometimes I dabble a bit in knitting too. And I was going to say that I've been doing this for more than a decade, and then I realized that I started this to work, more intensely on crochet when I was pregnant with my son. He turns 18 this upcoming November, so it's been almost 2 decades. I have learned quite a few things during that time, and I hope I will be able to pass some of that on. I have a website, which is AnnettePetterie.com. I'm on Facebook and on Instagram under my own name, Annette Petterie, so it's not very hard to find. I also have a monthly or more or less monthly newsletter that I'm going to explain a little bit about at the end. Just for now, know that this newsletter comes out so approximately once a month. Of course, it contains news about what I sell because my website is a shop, and also a more in-depth crochet tutorial. When you follow the link below the video to all these places, when it's the link to the website, you will come to the French version of the web shop, but it's very, very easy to click over to the English one. Well, just some general matters. Well, it has been almost a year. It's incredible. Last time I recorded was in May 2018. So, of course, I've been asking myself, am I going to continue doing this? Do I have the time? And definitely, I'm going to make the time. I have changed a bit the way I record. So I record this back to back with my video podcast in French. So I hope I will be able to stick to English in an appropriate manner. English is my third language. I'm not a native English speaker, as you can hear, so sorry about the funky accent and the weird mistakes. Why did I decide to get back to YouTube videos, and why did I decide to improve my website in English, as I will explain later? Well, because I think it's very important to continue to reach out. When I started working with crochet, so it was in 2001, yes, it must have been that nice. There was really nothing much out there. Frankly, I had difficulties finding sources of information to expand my knowledge. And of course, the evolution has been tremendous. And during these past few years only, I think crochet has really come up much more in the spotlight. And we have lots of lovely new designers who are working so well with lovely stitches, lovely yarns, and taking the craft forward. But I still think there is a lot of place of research, improvement, teaching, and I think it's important not to restrain this, to limit this to the place I live, which is France. So I have decided to once again reach out more in English. I started this career by working on the Crochet Me website almost 20 years ago. I published for a long time in Intuitive Crochet. I published in Inside Crochet in the UK, and there is no reason that I should not talk to you in another language than French. So why not English, since it's an easy way to communicate with a lot of people all over the world. So that's about that. Now let's get into it, and I'm going to introduce you to Popia. I hope that's the correct pronunciation. I checked it. I think it's Popia. This is not my design. It's a design by Éclat du Soleil, who is Hélène Marcy. And if you have followed me and my website and newsletter for previously, you know that we have been working together for quite some time. Hélène is a lovely crochet designer, and we have slightly different approaches, so we complete each other very well. This is a beautiful shawl. Let's say it's an angular half circle. That's perhaps the best way to describe it. You start here at the top with 5 triangles, and each triangle is the start of one of the sections that automatically grow with increases built into the stitch pattern. And then you finish it off with this lovely little border. These are no mini pom-poms sewn on, or it's all crochet, and it's really pretty. It dances along when you move, and this is a lovely, lovely material. It is worked in mohair and silk, in my new mohair and silk yarn. This is the red that has been used there. There's also a lovely gray silvery color, and currently the sunny yellow one, which is not beautifully rendered on the camera. If I can believe my screen, this is much warmer. And a teal color, which is always super difficult to shoot and to render. It looks, on my screen, this looks blue, but it's more on the green side. So there is very little left in stock of these 2 colors. I'm going to order more, and that will, I hope, be the occasion to add more colors. But I still have a lot of gray, I still have some good stock in gray and red. And these colors are just beautiful. It's a lovely, lovely yarn, 70% mohair, 30% silk, spun in Italy in the same mill that spins my organic cotton. It's gorgeous, it's nice to work with, and it's lovely to wear. I have very sensitive skin, but this is actually a mohair I can wear around my neck. I probably will not do it this summer, but as long as it's a bit chilly, it's quite fine. I think this is an easy pattern. I think a beginner could work it. However, if you are a beginner, I suggest you start with a swatch in another yarn, a smooth yarn. then you get a hang of the stitch pattern, and you can then work it in mohair if you so want, if you so like, because it's not harder to crochet mohair yarn than a smooth yarn, but it's much harder to pull out when you're making mistakes, because all these fluffy, beautiful, cuddly fibers that stick out from the yarn, that make it so mohairy, this mohair, well, they also catch on to each other, and ripping mohair is a pain. So if you're a beginner, test it out with a smooth yarn, but go for it because it's a very easy pattern. Helen used 4 balls of my mohair and silk in this pattern. If you want to use another yarns, one that you have already on hand, the size of the shawl is easy to adapt to the amount of yarn you have on hand, because every time you finish a repeat at the end of the triangle here, you have the right stitch count to continue with the cute little border. So an easy pattern, a lovely result, something really nice to wrap around you during the spring with the chilly mornings and evenings. You don't know how to dress this time of year, at least where I live. It's always difficult. You're cold in the morning and hot in the afternoon. That's why shawls are such a nice thing to have. Easy to put on and take off. So Poppaea, who is Poppaea? Why is this shawl called Poppaea? Poppaea was a Roman empress that I had never heard of because I'm not very good at history. But the photos you can see on the website of this shawl are shot by Helen's boyfriend, who is Italian, during their summer holiday in Italy. And the photo shoot took place at the Villa Poppaea, which was apparently the home of Poppaea. Poppaea was the second wife of Neron. I hope that's how he's pronounced in English. So she lived during the 1st century. Not very long, because she died because of a complicated pregnancy. But her villa was discovered in the 1960s, I think, and now you can visit it if you go to Italy. So Poppaea it is. Helen often goes to Italy, and you can explore her designs on my website. You can easily, if you go to the category crochet, you can select her as a designer, Éclat du Soleil, which means the light of the sun, which is the meaning of Hélène or Helen, and that's her designer name. So you can explore her patterns and see which ones and which names are inspired of Italy. There are quite a few. So what am I working on? Well, of course, lots of things that I can't show you, and lots of things that are a bit hang up in the air. But one constant is my renewed, I'd say, interest for Tunisian crochet. And in Tunisian crochet, I am currently working on this, which is a design by Rachel Henry. Rachel is a Belgian designer. Her designs can be found on Ravelry, and they are all translated to English. And this is a very interesting pattern to start with if you're new to Tunisian crochet and you just want to try it out and see how it goes. It's called Une manière de faire, or One way of doing it. You can find it very easily on Rachel's designer page on Ravelry, and I will of course put a link in the notes under the video. The reason why this is a very good starting point is that it only uses Tunisian simple stitch. So this is the first stitch you learn when you learn Tunisian crochet. And I think you can see it on screen. You are actually working in bands that are attached as you go to the previous work. So you are working on a very small width all the time, up to 11 stitches. And 11 stitches in fingering weight yarn do not require a special hook. So this is a pattern you can try out if you want to try your hand on Tunisian crochet, and just see if you like it, because you don't even have to buy a specific hook to work it. You know, Tunisian crochet hooks are the long ones, because you have to put all the stitches on your hook while you work a row. But in this case, you can get away with using just a normal crochet hook. I tend to mix this up because in English it's hook, and hook means crochet in French. So this is a pattern that Rachel has written specifically so that it can be used with a normal hook. I use this one, but she has tried it also with hooks with you know, these ergonomic handles, and she says it's okay. You can work it just on the part that is the right size of the hook here. So I've come this far. I wanted to stop here because I thought I had just 100 gram skein of a lovely yarn that I bought from an Italian dyer that I met at the Wool Festival in Felletin in France 2 years ago. So I thought, I only have one skein I can do. I can't make a shawl. I just make it large enough, around 50 centimeters, go around my neck, and then I'll close and work it round. But I have 3/4 of this left. I can stop now. So I think I'm going to continue working on this, making it as big as I can with this beautiful yarn, and then I'll find something else in my private stash to finish it off with a border in, I think, classic crochet. So a pattern that's very much recommended from me. I think it's also very nice to, I know a lot of beginner patterns out there are made to be quick and easy in very thick yarn. In Tunisian crochet, if you want something soft, this is very drapey and nice. With a thicker yarn, you need a huge hook, and that's not so easy to work. This is a fingering weight yarn, and I'm working with a 6mm hook. So the hook to yarn ratio is much bigger in Tunisian crochet, especially if you want something soft and nice like this. So don't hesitate, go and check it out. I'll put, as I said, the link below the video. So, excuse me, I need some water to be able to continue to talk about my organic cotton. It's the yarn that you can see behind me, and it's a wonderful cotton yarn, 180 meters, which should be 198 yards, I think, per 50 grams. So it's a fingering weight yarn, not the thinnest type of fingering, but still a fingering weight yarn. And I have it in oh no, I forgot, I lost the ball. Here it is. I have it in solid colors and in multicolored. Look at this. Isn't it pretty? I love combining solids with variegated or otherwise multicolored yarn. I think it's a great way to set off both. I have, this is a colorway that got sold out at once last year when I got it. I also have, I didn't have the nature colored yarn in stock any longer. Goes so nice with sails on the Baltic Sea, which is this one, and also with the glacier blue. Glacier, yeah. I don't have all the color names in English in my head. This yarn is very soft. It's an organic yarn. It's GOTS certified, and I really enjoy working with it. I'm going to show you a couple of things I made with it. Just look at this. Nice. So you can use it as combining multicolored and solid colored yarn, for example, in the Brocéliande Mébius, which you can find on my website. This is a design by Nathalie Manson, which is really nice. It's a true Mébius, because you start in the middle and you work out on both sides at the same time. There are tags on all these. They have been traveling with me to different booths. This one is here in solid colored, as is the capelet or capelet, if you like, which is a pattern of mine. It's not new. It's really nice to wear in the summer over a tank top or a dress, a sleeveless dress. Really nice. And I wanted to show you as well the cotton version of my design Wave, made with 3 balls. So this is an asymmetrical triangle. You start working it here. This is the show tag, and you finish it off here with a border which is simply the end of the stitch pattern underlined with a row of single crochet. So a pattern that's easy to work. The turning point at the largest, at the tip that you can see here, is when you have used 2/3 of your yarn. So that way you can easily use up all your yarn and not run out of it before the end. So why am I talking about yarns on my website? Because before I didn't do that on the podcast, because shipping outside France a few years ago became incredibly expensive. But now, and I'm taking on the subject of improvements on my website, there is a new shipping option called Delivengo, and its shipping has again become reasonable. It's available for packets under 2 kilos. So large books, for example, still need to be shipped with normal postal services. But sometimes you might think that's worth the while. I shipped a book to the United States just the other day. Another improvement on my website is that I now have an English blogging again. My blog used to be bilingual, and it became very hard to keep up with that, especially for a few years. I have very much focused on my work here in France, and lots of things like the shows I go to, the classes I teach locally are not very interesting for an international audience. So my blog was exclusively in French, but not everyone speaks or reads French. So now, since the beginning of this year, I have a blog in English again. You can find the link just below the video, and I will try to keep up with it and post news there very regularly. And last but not least, just a few words on my newsletter. So as I said, the newsletter comes out almost monthly because things happen. I don't have a team. I work alone. So when I go on vacation or I have an urgent matter, be it work-wise or privately, well, I cannot always keep up with this, but there are always 11 newsletters every year, exceptions. There is one for July and August, and otherwise one per month. So at the beginning of this year, I started to discuss mosaic crochet in the newsletter. In February, it was just news about the Propia shawl and the mohair and silk yarn, but now the newsletter will be back with the tutorial where I discuss how to find patterns for mosaic crochet and how to draw them yourself. There are a few things to know to be able to design your own stitch patterns in mosaic crochet, which will, by the way, also work for mosaic knitting. So twofold reason to check it out. I'm writing the newsletter currently. It's the March edition. It will be out in April, but it will be out. I plan to finish the first draft today, translate it tomorrow, have it proofread and out to you at the very latest at the beginning of next week. So that's all for today, and I will be back very soon. Have a wonderful day. Hang on to your yarn, keep hooking. Bye bye.